In this part, we would like to look into some contemporary approach of leadership styles. There are some modern approaches. Number one is we can see that recent scholars are trying to combine both trade and behavioral approach of the leadership. And one of the examples is the transformational leadership style, and also the ethical leadership style is also the combination of both trade as well as the behavior approach. The second model approach is the cognitive approaches to see the role of the leaders and followers' perceptions. And one of the typical examples is implicit leadership theory. It says that people indeed will have different expectations, and if the leaders fit with certain expectation, and so we will consider that he or she is a good leader. Other focus on the relationship between the supervisor and also the subordinate. And one of the typical example is leader-member exchange. We are looking into different qualities of the relationship between the supervisor or the subordinate, even though they are in the same team. The leader may be good with person A, but it doesn't mean that he or she has a good relationship with person B, even though they are in the same team. And so this is what we call the leader-member exchange theory. Transformational leadership theory is the most studied theory of leadership in recent time, and it differentiates the transformational versus the transactional leadership behavior. Transformational leadership refers to the appeal to the followers' value and emotion to inspire and motivating them to go beyond self-interest and prioritize organizational objectives. In short, the leaders enable employees to go beyond the self-interest and in order to work for the organization objectives. They're using a more inspirational approach. They respect the employees. However, transactional approach is appeal to the self-interest in exchange for the benefits. And it seems that whenever you do something and I will give you some benefit, it's a kind of exchange. Indeed, they are quite different, but not mutually exclusive process. And we could see that some effective leaders probably they can use a combination of both types of the leadership. Transformational leadership, through the strength of the vision and personality, transformational leaders are able to inspire followers to change expectation, perception, and motivation to work towards the common goal. The key issue is that they build the visions and also to shape the personality. The transformational leaders were able to inspire and respect the employees, to change their expectation, and also to motivating them to work together on the common goal. So this is the key issue of transformational leadership. These are the key features for the transformational leadership. Transformational leadership includes the idealized inference. They can influence the employees in a positive way. They can also motivate the employees to inspire them to do towards and exceed the organizational goal achievement. Intellectual stimulation will also respect them and will to motivate them to make good use of the intelligence. Individualized consideration, they also consider the benefit of the individuals. Transactional leadership, however, it refers to some contingent reward to giving them the reward whenever they achieve something. Non-transactional leadership, however, is something like is hands-off. They do not take care and concerned about the employees. Transformational leadership, transformational leaders are expected to include all these four features. Idealized inference, it means that for someone who being a role model to showing respect and trust on the employees. Intellectual simulation, and to encourage some new ideas and innovative approaches. and will have the motivation to create a positive visions and showing that, well, they really have the passionate towards individualized consideration. They really listen to the followers' concern and acting as the mentor and coach. And so all these are the key features of the transformational leaders. And many of the good examples from the effective leaders, they will express and communicate their vision to the followers. For example, they will say that I have a dream. If you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. Then he becomes your partner. Or some of them will also mention, an eye for an eye only end up making the whole world blind. And all these are their vision when they express and communicate their visions to their followers. And so in order to inspire and motivate their followers. And many people also make a comparison between the transformational as well as the charismatic leadership style. Charisma is a key feature of truly transformational leader. Charisma enables leaders to inspire and motivate followers. In these videos, and you can take a look at what is charismatic leadership style and give you the ideas that and what it is and how does it work. Some of the research has confirmed that Obama indeed is not only a transformational leader, indeed he is also a charismatic leader. And well, let's watch the Obama's first speech as the president. In these videos, you can see that he's not only a transformational leader, but also can be classified as the charismatic leader. And well, he always mentioned that yes, we can, and will try to influence their followers' actions. Indeed, how does transformational leadership influence followers? There are several different mechanisms that can be used and explained the relationship between the transformational leader and positive outcome. And one of the mechanisms is emotional regulations. Transformational leaders are trying to regulate the emotion of the subordinates. And so by having the positive mood in order to generate some positive outcome. The second mechanism is self-determination, intrinsic motivation. They are inspire the subordinates' intrinsic motivation and determine their ultimate goal, and so in order to bring in positive outcome. Next is trust in leadership. Transformational leader is trying to build up the trust relationship with the subordinate. And so, when the subordinate trusts a leader, and it is likely to increase their positive outcome. Finally, is the social learning perspective for modeling some behavior. The leader as the role model and subordinate will imitate the good behavior and so will bring in some positive outcome follows. So, what are the outcome of transformational leadership? According to the meta-analysis, we find that they have positively related to many positive outcomes, including like the followers' satisfaction, motivation, performance, the leader's performance and effectiveness, as well as at the high level is the team, as well as the organizational effectiveness. And it seems that the transformational leadership can bring in lots of positive outcomes. Despite some positive link, transformational leadership also have some criticism. For example, number one is the dimensions lack fertility and definition of how they combine to produce transformational leadership. Although we notice that there are all four features to explain transformational leadership, but what are the relationship with the transformation leadership? Why do you consider that just have these four features? Why not five? And why are these four? Besides that, researchers often pick and choose those dimensions. They are not using all of them, but they may only use some, maybe one or two dimensions only. Besides that, measures are confounded with effects and fail to reproduce dimension. it doesn't have a very stable conclusion on which dimensions will lead to what outcome. And so it seems the result and the findings are not quite stable and conclusive. Indeed, we can see that there is also some wider issue with leadership research that we have to look into. The majority of the theory focus extensively, exclusively on the leader themselves. They were assuming some inference is on the top-down approach. But how about the followers? Indeed, the success of the leader may not only depend on the leader themselves, but it may also depend on the followers. That's why some of the researchers talk about this followership. The followership, because they mentioned that without followers, there's no leadership. It makes sense, right? The success of the leaders, it also depends on the success of followers. Theories of the followership will highlight that leadership is a two-way process between the supervisor as well as the subordinate, the followers as well as the leader. Theories highlight how the characteristic of the follower will also shape and influence the leadership approach. That is the leader-member exchange. Because within it, the relationship between the leader and followers, and so this is what we call the dyadic relationship. Within the same team, leader can build in many different types and quality of the relationship with different followers. Although they are in the same team, but it doesn't mean that the leaders will build the same relationship quality with their followers. Sometimes the leaders may have a better relationship with person A, but it doesn't mean that he or she has a better relationship with person B. So the relationship quality can be varied. With this relationship approach the LM makes, we can see that rather than focusing purely on the leader or the subordinate side, we have to explain and examine the relationship between the two. So we're trying to see a social exchange relationship. This exchange relationship is based on trust and mutual respect and felt obligation. If the leader treated the employees well, and so the employees will treat the leader well by increasing their work performance, trust, etc. In the other way round, the same. If the employees they trust their supervisor, they increase their work performance, and then the supervisor will like them more and give them more further support. And so it's a kind of the social exchange process. In this exchange, the leader may offer some mentoring, support, sponsorship, social network, empowerment to the employees in exchange for the subordinates' high level of the OCB, high performance, satisfaction, etc. So a kind of exchange. In summary, the lectures tell us that leadership is a kind of the process of inference. They're influencing the followers' relationship. Indeed, we can also see that some trait and the behavioral approach are associated with more effective leadership. However, we can also see that the contingency approach will emphasize on the situation factor, the contextual factor, in shaping the leadership styles. Transformational leadership is a very effective one at motivating people, but it seems just that a more theoretical assumption. And in a more recent approach, we'll emphasize on the relationship between the supervisor and subordinate. And we're trying to see how, in what way that both mutual trust should be needed to build the quality of the relationship. And so what are the implications for the managers? Managers need to be aware that their personal characteristic, of course, they can affect how they are perceived as the leader. They can also use a variety of the leadership styles. It doesn't mean that if you only use this particular leadership style and then it will be fixed. No, it depends on different situation. It depends on different followers. You may also use different kinds of the leadership styles. But we also need to maintain equality and fairness in treating the subordinates. We also need to develop the good quality relationship with the followers. And indeed, we can also see that charismatic leadership styles or other characteristics actually can be trained. And so, if you cannot see that leadership can be developed in certain extents. I hope you enjoyed this class. If you have any question, please let me know. Thank you so much.